Hi guys, welcome back to the channel, and as you've seen by the title and probably in the picture for the thumbnail, like a hole in the head, we need a new project, and we have one. You might well have seen this aeroplane hanging up there in a few videos. This is Ewan's Precedent Stampe, quarter scale, and we wanted to try and get it ready for flying.
Yeah.
There is a reason for trying to get it to flying sooner rather than later, and I know a lot of you are going to turn around and say, well, you've got other projects that you need to finish. A lot of projects run simultaneously, and the videos don't necessarily come out in the right order that we're actually doing them. So yes, behind you right now there's about 1, 2, 3, probably 3 or 4 projects that are being worked on simultaneously. So the Stampe, bit of a backstory. You want to fly on a show line with a certain person who flies a Stampe.
Yeah.
Anybody that can guess who that person is, there is a clue in this video, quite obvious if you know what you're looking for. Comment below if you know who it is or you think who it is. They fly a Stampe. This Stampe, sorry, let me go back. You wanted to fly a Stampe on a show line. I said it'd be an easy plane to fly, good size and whatnot. I happened to stumble across this one at the opposite end of the country to what we are, but at a time when I happened to be going to that end of the country. It was cheap, very cheap, ridiculously cheap if you ask me. It's got all the servos, and it was flown 2 weeks before I picked it up. It has been hung up there for at least
2 years.
2 years because I bought it in the old house.
Yeah.
So 2.5 years at least. The airframe itself looks tatty, but it's predominantly dirty. The cowling, as you can see, this mark is actually a nitro mark. It's actually the nitromethane fuel has taken the paint off. So that's all going to need rubbed down and repainted. That's probably going to be the last of the jobs. Everything is structurally sound that we can see so far. The wings are on the rack behind you. They've got servos in them. They're structurally sound. Again, they're just dirty.
They're weathered.
They're weathered. Yes, that's the route we're going. This aeroplane isn't old and manky. It's well weathered.
Yeah.
But it's structurally sound. That's the main thing. All the servos work. I said there's 2 servos in the wings. There's 4 servos in here. 1 for the rudder, 2 for the elevators, and 1 for the throttle.
Is there a throttle in there at the moment?
Yeah, there's a throttle one in there. One of the things we've got to do is this little lump here. It's like rock and horse poo now. Zenoah 38 is going in the front of this. But one of the problems is this airframe was flown on a laser 150, I believe. So this firewall's in totally the wrong place. When I say totally wrong, it's 20 millimeters too far forwards. So we've got to cut the firewall back, bang on that line there. We can then fit another firewall, epoxy it all in, reinforce it, and the 38 will then fit straight onto it. Now, I've done a bit of measuring up of the actual 38 itself and the mount. You might not necessarily be able to see the drawings, but I'm going to go and basically CAD draw a firewall that I want laser cut, so I can get that sent off and get it cut sooner rather than later. And while I'm doing that, you're going to make a start on cleaning it, aren't you?
De-weathering it.
De-weathering it a little bit, yeah. People will comment, there are a few marks on it. The tailplane that Ewan's hiding just now, there's actually a bit of overspray on there from something. We're not worried about it just now. This aeroplane's for flying, and if need be, at some point we'll either recover this one
Or build another.
or Ewan will build another one.
Hopefully the second one.
Do you want to build another one? Yeah. So I'm going to go and do that. We'll get you on a time lapse, and Ewan's going to do some cleaning of this. Right then, Ewan's done a pretty good job of de-weathering this. Is that what we call it? De-weathering?
De-weathering.
Okay, de-weathering the Stampe. You haven't done the wings yet though, have you?
No, I need to do that after I've done this.
Right, at some point.
Yeah.
So while Ewan's doing
Bits on the farmyard.
Ewan's things over there, which you'll see at some point, I'm sure. What we need to do here, the biggest job here, is cutting the firewall back. So the new firewalls have been ordered, have been cut, and they're actually in the post to me already. That's not bad turnaround. I've done some measuring, and what I've also got here, this is part of the plan, which we haven't got. This is one I found online of the exact same model. I've printed it out to actual size to take some measurements. Now, this former here and the top of it here, and that top line there is actually the top of that there. This is an extra former that somebody's put in, because that's not shown here. This former here behind the cabane is that one. So the top deck there is actually that point, but this is the main structural member. I've measured from that point there to the top of it, and it matches from that point there to the top of it there. So I know this drawing's to scale, and I know I can measure things off. So what I want to do, I know I'm going to be coming back about 25 millimeters. I know I'm going to make a cut, or should I say a sand line, back to there. I'm actually going to cut through the middle of this. So it's a rough cut to get this front end opened up, and then sand it back to that point. Now, before I cut this off, I know that this thrust line, which is also that one there, is in the right place. I need to basically transfer that line across so I can then know where the vertical center line is, if that makes any sense. Vertical thrust line. I've just done some measuring up, and it's 21 millimeters down from the top of this structural member. So what I'm going to do is, before I make the cuts or whatever, I'm going to actually sand this back to bare wood, hopefully, so I can put pen marks on here so I know there's a center line on there, and do the same the other side. When we put the firewall back on, we can get it all square and centered and true. We can transfer the lines across to it, etc, etc. So I'll crack on and do that just now. So guys, just a little bit that we found here as and when pardon me, we started doing this. These support pieces, I wrongly assumed that they were hardwood. They're just balsa, so they've been doing absolutely nothing for strength apart from adding, well, they've been doing nothing for strength, put it that way. So we will eventually be coming back to that line there, but we're going to do a cut in front of that and then sand it back. We are assuming that we can do this with a hand saw. So that is what we're going to try and see how it goes. Okay then, so as you can now see, we've moved benches because I just couldn't get around the model where I wanted to on that bench. You can also see it's a bit different at the front here now. This bit fell off with the help of a wood saw. As I said earlier, these sides have been cut back, sanded square to the measurement we needed to go back to. There is a little bit of play in it, as in the prop driver might be a little bit further forwards than ideal, but that's not the end of the world. Yeah, so these, again, the sides here, I don't know how well you'll be able to see, the sides are sanded, the inside faces are sanded enough so we can get support glued on structurally, make it sure it's strong. Now, one thing that we are looking at, we think the throttle servo is going to go in here, which is easy, and we just take a throttle lead through. The tank, the original tank, we've thrown away, it was damaged, but this is, you show the model. This is the original position for the tank, and it was inserted and removed through the front. But they obviously fitted the tank before fitting the original firewall, and then left it in there, so there's no way of getting it out. We want to be able to have the tank removable. I don't really want to cut the firewall, or the former that's sitting there, somewhere there. So I want to try and utilise this tank bay. This tank is a 24 ounce tank. The 20 ounce tank
Should fit
in length because it's a 1/4 inch shorter than this one, and this one is just too long to clear. One thing I have thought of, I'm trying to think how long 20 ounces of fuel will last.
Well, there's like,
Should be long enough.
how big's the tank in the XL?
16.
Loads of time.
Yeah, there should be plenty anyway.
of time.
The only thing being is we won't be able to see how much fuel's in there at all, because we're going to be the cowling on there. Anyway, we'll be able to figure something out.
Maybe I'd see it from the car. Or maybe.
Yeah,
Possibly.
we'll see.
Yeah.
So, next stage is going to be awaiting Mr. Postman coming with the firewalls, which are actually in the post now. Get them here, get them marked up, get everything squared up, trued up, and get it on.
Yep.
And that'll be the biggest part of the job done.
Yep.
Obviously, we're just going to glue on the firewall to these formers, longer on, whatever these structural points for the engine box. Get the firewall glued on with probably just a thin smearing of epoxy, and then we'll back it out with other supporting pieces. We'll make sure the tank can go in and out, and obviously the engines are going to fit. There's a fair bit to do, but this is the main bit. Yeah.
The rest of it's just tidying up, covering, and bits like that.
Yeah. The only other really constructional bit we've got to do is servo covers for the wings.
With the servos on the top or the bottom of the wing.
The servos are in the bottom wing.
On the top or the bottom?
They're on the bottom of the bottom wing.
Oh, fine.
But we need to make covers for them.
Yeah.
So yeah, we need to make servo covers, as I said. That's the only constructional thing we've got to do. This is the job. We need to get some wing bolts for it, which I haven't got. Strangely enough, these are M6, and the ones for the bottom wing are M5 for some reason. I don't know what length we need. I haven't even thought about that. So yeah, my head's a bit of a mess just now. I'm tired. I've got this project on the go. We've got this project on the go. But they're both going in the right direction, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're both getting to a point where they're two of Ewan's aeroplanes that he can fly, and I still haven't got a petrol hack on my own.
Yeah.
My petrol hack is up there.
You keep breaking yours.
Yeah. Less said about that, the better. So, for just now, we're going to leave this video here. If you're liking this sort of content, give us a thumbs up. It's all greatly appreciated. If you're not already and you're watching this, consider subscribing. It's great help to the channel. Any comments, any questions, stick them down below. But yeah, that's about it from us in this video just now in the workshop. Until next time, we'll catch you later.
Bye.